is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith openly confronted Floyd Mayweather Jr. for downplaying Terence Crawford after his victory over Saul Canelo Alvarez. Smith argued that Crawford achieved something truly historic, emphasizing that no fighter had ever done what he accomplished by becoming undisputed across multiple weight divisions. He highlighted that Crawford earned every part of his legacy and deserves full recognition, not criticism. According to Smith, Crawford's win over Canelo was far more than just another victory. It was a defining moment that elevated him among the greatest fighters of all time. He made it clear that Mayweather's negativity could not take away from Crawford's incredible achievement.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather shared strong opinions about the shocking result Terence Crawford delivered against Saul Canelo Alvarez, stressing that the loss will always leave a lasting impact on Canelo's legacy. In his words, Canelo stood as the undisputed ruler of that division, carrying both status and complete dominance over his opponents. Yet he experienced a humbling defeat to someone who stepped up in weight and challenged him on his own ground. For Jeff, this wasn't just a minor mark, but a lasting stain that will remain tied to Canelo's name in boxing history. He explained that champions in their prime are remembered for defining moments. And for Canelo, that defining moment became a crushing loss to Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was amazed by Terence Crawford's victory and openly expressed his admiration without holding anything back. He emphasized that he was present to witness this historic moment, which made the experience even more personal for him. According to Smith, no one in boxing history has accomplished what Crawford just did, moving up in weight to defeat a dominant champion like Saul Canelo Alvarez in such a convincing way. He described it as a career-defining achievement that separates Crawford from the rest, ensuring that this night will always be remembered in the sport's rich history. For Smith, it wasn't just another fight, but a massive shift in how greatness is measured in boxing.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there. I was there. Because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Terence Crawford trainer made it absolutely clear after the fight that his fighter has nothing left to prove. In his opinion, Terence has reached a stage where respect should no longer be questioned, yet some critics still refuse to give it. This frustration highlighted that even after dismantling one of boxing's biggest names, Crawford continues to fight narratives outside the ring. His trainer added that Terence is not even considering another bout right now, as what he accomplished against Saul Canelo Alvarez is already enough to secure his greatness. For Crawford, it is no longer about chasing big names, but about building a legacy that simply cannot be denied.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24...
Timothy Bradley delivered one of the boldest takes by directly comparing Terence Crawford with Floyd Mayweather Jr., arguing that Crawford now deserves a place at the very top of any greatest of all-time discussion. For Bradley, this wasn't just about Crawford defeating Saul Canelo Alvarez, but about redefining what being pound-for-pound number one truly means. He explained that while Floyd mastered the craft of boxing in his era, Crawford has shown he can operate at an even higher level by stepping up and beating Canelo at his peak. In Bradley's view, this victory has elevated Crawford into a completely different tier, where only the absolute legends of the sport belong.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. provided a balanced perspective, explaining that unlike when Floyd Mayweather Jr. defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez years ago, this time both fighters were in their prime. He pointed out that Floyd had the benefit of facing a younger, less experienced Canelo, which allowed him to outbox him using superior skill and ring IQ. In comparison, Terence Crawford stepped in against a fully developed and battle-tested version of Canelo, the same one who had ruled his division for years. Despite being the naturally smaller fighter, Crawford still managed to break him down. For Roy, that fact alone makes Crawford's achievement remarkable, as he overcame a Canelo who was stronger, smarter, and far more refined than the version Mayweather faced.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to find it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think it's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we'd have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was left stunned by what he witnessed inside the ring, saying that Saul Canelo Alvarez had absolutely no answers for Terence Crawford's relentless pressure, speed, and sharp precision. He described the performance as unbelievable and truly incredible, labeling it as one of the most complete displays ever seen in modern boxing. McKenzie pointed out that Crawford not only achieved undisputed status, but also showed that he is nearly unbeatable even against the toughest opponents. His reaction carried a strong sense of admiration and respect as he made it clear that Crawford has raised the bar so high that very few fighters, if any, will ever be able to match it.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight, in the build-up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable, and Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around. Knowing how to win rounds.
Robert Garcia offered one of the strongest endorsements of Terence Crawford greatness by arguing that in this specific context he has achieved more than Floyd Mayweather Jr. He noted that Crawford convincingly won around 9 to 10 rounds against Saul Canelo Alvarez and showed a relentless hunger that Mayweather never pursued at such a high-risk level. Garcia emphasized that Floyd never took on the challenge of moving up and dominating a bigger champion in this way, making Crawford's victory both unique and historic. For Garcia, this wasn't just about statistics or titles, it was about taking bold risks and succeeding, which is what truly separates legends from icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-division undisputed. He wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retires.
Brian Norman Sr. left no room for doubt when he stated that Terence Crawford's dismantling of Saul Canelo Alvarez was far more punishing than anything Floyd Mayweather Jr. had ever delivered. His words connected with fans and analysts alike because they directly captured the reality of what unfolded inside the ring. Canelo, long viewed as the king of his division, was not simply defeated. He was methodically broken down by a fighter who moved up 2 weight classes to challenge him. Crawford's performance stood as a masterclass that redefined what greatness means in modern boxing. 4 years, Canelo Alvarez ruled as the undisputed force of the super middleweight division. He carried himself as the face of boxing, took on the biggest names, and secured his place as one of the most marketable champions of his era. His dominance made him seem almost untouchable, with opponents repeatedly falling short against his powerful combinations and calculated pressure. Yet, in a single night, Crawford completely shattered that image. What made the result so shocking was not just the outcome, but the way it unfolded. Canelo was not simply edged out or narrowly beaten on the scorecards. He was completely outclassed and left searching for answers that never arrived.
I bet against Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was, Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Makrimov or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's opinionated situation because styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Different eras. Different. It's a lot of things. You can't really say that.
Andre Ward, a legend in his own right, placed Terence Crawford victory in its proper historical context, describing it as a generational fight that fans will revisit for decades as a defining turning point in boxing. Ward explained that moments like this are what shape careers and separate great fighters from true legends. What stood out to him most was Crawford's discipline, as he stayed sharp, composed, and intelligent throughout the entire bout, never letting emotions interfere with his performance. For Ward, this was a GOAT-level moment that pushed Crawford into the conversation of the greatest fighters in history. By dismantling Saul Canelo Alvarez in such dominant fashion, Crawford lifted himself onto a level where only a select few fighters in boxing history have ever stood.
Beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford is a great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turki Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. and I didn't think it was going to be significant, and people called me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's all for today's video. Make sure you stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one.